It was amazing. I grew up on Richard Pryor. You can't even go back and talk about the book he wrote.
Yeah.
You know, and then what I got to do sometimes is explain, which I hate in big arenas, that this is a thought police thing, and I do not like it. But when I use these words, this is my intent behind those words.
Yeah. Wow.
So as long as you understand my intent, I still get people, well, just don't say it. And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, but they take it out of context and put it on Twitter or put it on Facebook.
I'm surprised.
Tim Allen is once again making waves in Hollywood with a tweet that's got everyone talking. Known as one of Hollywood's top anti-woke comedians, Tim doesn't hold back when it comes to challenging the industry's woke culture. For years, he's made it clear that he won't follow the crowd and definitely won't apologize for asking tough questions about things Hollywood prefers to ignore. If you're online at all, you've probably seen Tim stir the pot. He's the guy who posts something bold, sits back, and watches as the woke crowd goes wild. This isn't his first time doing this, and it likely won't be his last. But this time, his tweet hit a nerve like never before. The backlash was swift and fierce, with Twitter mobs out in full force, unable to handle his challenge to their beliefs. But let's be honest, Tim Allen isn't one to back down. He's not going to let anyone tell him what he can or can't say, and that's exactly what has made him such a tough figure for Hollywood to deal with over the years.
You know, saying a word, and it's one of those things where it's like, it's kind of unbelievable. It's
actually disturbing on a fundamental level. It's gotten to the point where literally there's part of me, a deep part of me, that just, F it, bring it on. If you want to cancel me, go ahead.
Tim Allen isn't just ruffling feathers with his tweets. He's been challenging Hollywood's woke culture for years, and he's gotten really good at it. Take his Disneyland trip, for example. While at the park, Tim overheard a 13-year-old wondering if he was Hanjuel just because he liked Skillet music. Classic Tim. He couldn't resist sharing the funny moment online, pointing out how the language of identity has gotten out of hand. Of course, the backlash came fast. The woke crowd accused him of being insensitive and even bullying. But the truth is, Hollywood doesn't like Tim because he's not afraid to ask the questions they'd rather avoid. And that's what keeps him as a thorn in their side.
Let's talk about Last Man Standing. Congrats on this.
No, thanks very much.
I watched it when it was on ABC.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it wasn't on ABC.
Tell the 300 of the crew and everybody the same thing. We're all going, this is the best show I've ever been on. What? We're off the air. We all thought we were at the top of their game at ABC. Who knows how networks work? I don't know.
Hollywood has tried everything to cancel Tim Allen, from social media outrage to removing him from the spotlight. But here's the thing. Tim doesn't play by their rules. Let's take a trip down memory lane to when ABC canceled Last Man Standing. For those who don't know, Last Man Standing was one of ABC's top-rated shows.
Like gum in there too, but all right, when we're driving around, what do other people do when they see us?
They do this.
You know why they do that? This truck is older than you, but it's a classic, and people realize it's a classic. And you're a classic too.
How flattering. I'm an old truck.
Despite being the second highest-rated show on ABC, right after Modern Family, Last Man Standing was suddenly canceled.
Why?
Because Tim Allen had the audacity to portray a likable conservative character on mainstream TV, something Hollywood didn't appreciate.
We did a VIP thing for the vets and went to the Veterans Ball, and so I went to go see Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, I went to the inauguration. It was
I'm not attacking you.
You get in this town. I'm not kidding. You got to be real careful around here. You get beat up if you don't believe what everybody believes. This is like 30s Germany. I don't know what happened. If you're not part of the group.
In Hollywood, that's a major no-no. As Tim Allen himself put it, there's nothing more dangerous, especially in this climate, than a funny, likable conservative. Clip 6. Tim Allen's political views have always made him a target in Hollywood, but he hasn't backed down. Even with his new show, The Santa Clauses on Disney+, it's clear that Hollywood knows Tim's not going anywhere. They might try to censor him, but his loyal fan base is too strong to ignore. And while Disney brought him back, they can't control his voice. In The Santa Clauses, Tim's character made a small joke saying, "Merry Christmas to all," and suddenly, that became a huge problem. The wokes crowd lost it. Some called it offensive, others said it was politically divisive. But let's be honest, it's a Christmas show, so a joke about Christmas shouldn't be surprising. Yet, to the woke crowd, it was a massive red flag. Podcaster and filmmaker Scott Weinberg was one of the first to tweet about it, calling out the problematic Merry Christmas line. The internet exploded. People tore into Tim Allen for allegedly bringing right-wing politics into Christmas. One person even suggested that Tim's Santa character must be a MAGA supporter. It's almost laughable. A Christmas joke in a Christmas show became a reason for outrage. But the truth is, Tim Allen isn't just a comedian to the woke crowd. He's a problem that needs to be canceled. And no matter how hard they try, he keeps bouncing back. He's like Hollywood's worst nightmare, the conservative comedian who refuses to go away. Tim doesn't just face backlash from online mobs. He's up against the whole Hollywood system, which is designed to silence voices like his. As he's pointed out, the thought police are everywhere. Political correctness has completely changed comedy, making it harder for comedians to take risks. Tim's even had to adjust his material to avoid getting canceled by today's ultra-sensitive standards. Tim came up in comedy alongside legends like Richard Pryor and Lenny Bruce, comedians who pushed boundaries and weren't afraid to make people uncomfortable. But now, every joke is dissected, every word is analyzed, and for comedians like Tim, it's a nightmare. He once joked on The View that he'd probably get canceled just for repeating words he heard from his parents.
I haven't, because I do use some provocative words, but I tell them it's words that really got from my parents. You know, they said this stuff, and we talked about it. I can't even say it here. I can't even point to it. It is an alarming thing for comedians, but my act has really been about family and kids and growing up anyway. But I was going to say, if I do some stuff. The women in my life were, whatever political party it was, always they hated the government and who's going to pay for it. They always argued about it.
Tim Allen isn't the type to back down, and that's what makes him stand out in Hollywood. He's made it clear that he refuses to live in fear of being canceled. In fact, he'd rather face the backlash than compromise his integrity. It's this defiant attitude that has kept him in the game, no matter how hard Hollywood tries to get rid of him. Tim has become a symbol of resistance against cancel culture. Every time the woke crowd tries to take him down, he lands another role, gathers more fans, and gains even more respect for standing his ground. He's built a career that openly challenges Hollywood's narrative, and while they may dislike him for it, they can't ignore him. The best part? Tim isn't even fazed by their attempts to cancel him. While Twitter mobs may rage, he just keeps pushing forward. When Last Man Standing was canceled by ABC, Fox picked it up without hesitation. When Disney tried to replace him by casting Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear, it didn't slow him down. And now, Tim is back on Disney Plus with the Santa Clauses, delivering lines he knows will send Twitter into a frenzy. And let's not forget, Tim has been vocal about cancel culture itself. He's never shied away from calling it out for what it is. In the face of all this, Tim Allen just keeps going, proving that no matter how hard they try, they can't cancel him.
That's good.
In one interview, Tim Allen made it clear that while he understands the pressure to conform, he refuses to compromise his comedy just to please a few people. He's openly criticized how quick society has become to cancel others, comparing it to high school, where everyone is ready to jump on you for the smallest mistake. To Tim, the whole thing is ridiculous. He even joked that he half expects to be canceled just for using words his parents used. He's right, cancel culture has gotten to the point where comedians have to explain every single joke to avoid being misunderstood or taken out of context. And that's exactly why so many comedians have stopped speaking out, afraid that one wrong move could destroy their career. But Tim Allen? He keeps going no matter the backlash. Despite the mobs, the networks trying to blacklist him, and Hollywood's obsession with silencing voices that don't fit the narrative, Tim remains non-cancelable. That's why he's the ultimate example of resilience in a world obsessed with canceling anyone who dares to speak up. In the end, Tim Allen has embarrassed Hollywood by simply refusing to be silenced. They can try to censor him, pull his shows, or rage on Twitter, but he's still standing strong. And that, my friends, is how Tim Allen has humiliated Hollywood in the best way possible, by staying true to himself. So, if you're on Team Tim Allen and tired of Hollywood's endless virtue signaling, hit that like button and subscribe for more on celebrities who are defying the